Hello there, Cancer. Welcome to my channel. I'm Mary Sue, and I'm so glad that you're here. I really appreciate you joining me. Today I'm going to be doing your mid-April reading, and so we'll be taking a look at your overall energy for this next month. This is going to be about from April 15th to May 15th, and then we'll take a look at the tarot and get some more advice and a look at any obstacles you might have coming up this month. This is a general reading, so if it does not resonate with you, you may want to check out your Venus, Moon, or Rising sign in order to see if there's a message there for you. So let's go ahead and get started with the oracle cards. Okay, so you have the raccoon energy. The raccoon is kind of known as a playful and sometimes mischievous animal. But its the signature characteristic of it is the mask. So when this animal spirit comes out, it's kind of indicating that you may be wearing a mask when you're around other people. And this could be family, friends, co-workers, just everybody in general, right? It doesn't matter, but there is a mask that you're wearing in certain situations, or perhaps, in your life in general. And the mask is there to help you cope with something that is bothering you underneath. And a lot of times when we have this card, the raccoon card, it's because the ego is fearful of something. So we're definitely going to, delve into this a little bit deeper. But it just kind of is an indication that maybe there's something that you need to deal with. That you're kind of like not dealing with because, it could be something painful and you're like, I don't want to deal with that right now. And we're all a little bit like that, resistant sometimes to looking at things that are painful. But once you look at this, you can take the mask off and be more authentic. And your relationships with other people will be more authentic. So it's something, just to think about. Like, what area of your life are you kind of like hiding your true self because of being afraid of, maybe being rejected or abandoned or not loved? It's usually coming from that sense of the ego, kind of self-preservation. So let's see what else we have here. Ears wide open. I think for some of you, I think it's kind of interesting because, I know this isn't a raccoon. I don't know, is that is that kind of like a fox? But, both of these animals, I see similarities in them. And, with the ears wide open, it's an indication that you are perhaps receiving messages from your spirit guides about looking at this situation that you've kind of like put on the back burner. And it could be, something that happened a while ago, like maybe not really recent, but you think you've kind of gotten over it or you've glossed over it. And you're getting like these intuitive messages that it's time to maybe have a conversation with someone, or kind of going back and revisiting this. Sometimes we do have to kind of like just move on from a situation, but then on down the road, we have to kind of go back and deal with the pain or the hurt that was in that situation so that we can truly move on. So let's see what else we have. Firm foundation. By looking at this situation, to me, I'm getting the message that you've been trying to build a firm foundation, but it could look like a firm foundation, but there's like a loose brick in your foundation. And if you don't go back and try to, fix that little bit of the foundation, it doesn't mean your whole life is, unauthentic or fake or anything like that. It just means that there's something that you're not really dealing with. I'll tell you, I had a little plumbing issue, right? And it was just a minor thing. But it was kind of like, I knew if I didn't take care of it, you know, water issues can lead to much bigger, more expensive fixes, right? And it's kind of like that type of energy, you know, that there's something that you need to deal with. You need to fix in your foundation to truly make it a firm foundation so that you can build and you can go on. Like, I think you've done a really good job of recovering from something painful, but there's like something that you have to really finish out in order to make sure that the foundation you're building is strong. And to the sea, you know, Cancer, you know, you're the water energy. To me, this is kind of like you sitting on top of the emotions, not wanting to go deep down inside and to truly deal with whatever this situation is. And that's going to be different for all of you. You know, it could be a hurtful situation that happened in your career, or a love relationship, or a family relationship. Whatever it is, you're kind of like sitting on top of it. Like, I think it's interesting because, you know, in this, she's sitting in, I've never read this card this way, but she's sitting in this tub and she's looking at the book. She's not even looking at the emotions around her, right? Because the water is your emotions. It's like, I'm just going to sit on top and I'm not really going to look at that. But I think that you're getting kind of messages, intuition. Your heart is telling you it's time to kind of deal with this, whatever it is. Contract. So it could be a legal contract. Once again, like if you're in business and this has something to do with a work situation, you know, there could be a legal contract. You may be taking, you know, legal steps to try to figure this out. It could be, you know, legal situations like, you know, a divorce or a marriage or, you know, something like that, if it's a love relationship. But I'm also getting a true sense that this is a soul contract. For some of you, I think this could be a soul contract with somebody in your life. Something that needs to play out, that this is some type of a lesson that the two of you or a group of you, you know, maybe a family situation, friend situation, that you need to resolve so that you can build a true, firm foundation for yourself and perhaps for the others involved in this. This is a really deep reading. I'm already getting that it's a very deep reading. I think it was Aquarius. I'm having some deep readings this week. Also had a very deep reading. So you may, you know, if you have some Aquarius in your chart, you're dealing with an Aquarius, you may want to go look at that video too. But I definitely feel like this is something you can't sweep under the rug. Like, you could kick the can down the road for a little bit, but this is going to definitely come back until you deal with it. And I think you kind of know that. I think you're kind of like, yep, I got to deal with this. It, you know, I really do feel like for some of you, it's a painful conversation, or kind of like opening up how painful this was to someone else. Why it was so painful. For some of you, you may not have even really looked at that, right? You may have glossed over it. Really, really interesting. So we're going to go to the tarot, and I'm going to look at your past and present energies, any obstacles you have for this next month, advice from Spirit, and the outcome. So I'm going to pull the tarot cards, and then we'll go back and clarify everything. So let's see what you have in your past energy. I just also realized, ears wide open, it's the number 33. So, you know, this is a master number. This could be, you know, for some of you, like a twin flame connection, or, you know, definitely a deep soulmate connection. And that's why I think for some of you, it's more like a soul contract rather than an actual 3D legal contract. but that might not be for all of you. So your past energy is Nine of Wands, building your boundaries, right? Protecting yourself. This is the wounded warrior. You've been through a lot and you're kind of like at the end of the cycle. The 9 is the end. 10 finishes it out. So it means that you are at the end of a cycle, but once again, it's kind of reiterating that fact that you have to go back before you can move on to the 10. There's like another wand you have to collect. There's something you have to finish out here, because when you get to the 10 of Wands, you know, you're dropping the burdens. You're moving on to a new cycle. Really interesting. And, you know, I'm being drawn to the fact that she has all of her wands up there, but, you know, there's not a lot of love in her face, in her expression. So that might resonate with some of you. Perhaps you've kind of like built your boundaries, but it's only to protect yourself. You're not being vulnerable here. You're not sharing your pain. So let's see what you have in your present. Two of Pentacles. You're trying to decide what to do. I do feel like with this ears wide open, I really had the sense that many of you are getting this. You know, you may have had some synchronicities or some kind of messages or dreams, or maybe somebody's reached out to you about this situation and you're listening profoundly. Like, I don't see that you're taking a lot of action yet, right? You're trying to decide what to do, how to proceed. You're juggling a lot. You could be caught in the middle. I just got that. You could be caught in the middle between two people that you love, or two people or two groups of people. You could be trying to juggle different people's emotions, your emotions and somebody else's emotions. Like, you're not really sure how to proceed. Okay, so let's see what your obstacle is. Your obstacle is, so this is interesting. This is your obstacle. You do need to transform something. Yeah, you're once again, I feel like you're at the end of a cycle. It's like your obstacle is you haven't quite finished out this cycle. You haven't quite grasped the whole lesson of this situation. And I think that it's really interesting because this is under the raccoon. It's kind of like you have to take the mask off. You have to tell the people in your life just how painful this situation was or is. You have to take the mask off and be vulnerable and open yourself up. And I think that's going to be really hard, because I really do feel like you have built this wall, right? She has all these wands. I'm inside the wall. You're not coming across my wall. I'm not crossing over my wall. But here's the thing. I think you're getting some kind of messages or intuitive type of synchronicities, messages that are telling you, maybe you're sitting there going, do I cross the wall and be open, or do I protect myself? Do I put myself out there or protect myself? Like, you're going kind of back and forth about whether or not you should cross this wall. But you have to cross the wall in order to complete this transformation. And I think that for a lot of you, you know that you have to do this. Like, it's kind of like, you know, like maybe you have a little toothache, right? And you really don't like going to the dentist. So you put it off and you put it off and you put it off. And then all of a sudden, right, your tooth cracks and you need a root canal and a crown. And, you know, like it's kind of like, okay, you can either deal with this. I get the sense that if you don't, you're going to have a tower moment, right? Like, it's it's time for you to take the action, or the universe will take the action for you. It's time to look at the emotions underneath the bathtub, right? To get out of the bathtub, to jump into the ocean and say, okay, I'm ready to do this. So let's see what your advice is, the Devil. So we are going to clarify these. This is attachment. It could be an addiction for some of you, but it's some type of an attachment that you have to a belief system. For some of you, it could be, an attachment to not showing your true self, an attachment to your mask, keeping your mask on. It could be an attachment to thinking that you're right in a situation, an attachment to a belief system that deals with this situation. So we're going to, it's because it's in your advice, we're going to clarify this, but I think it's kind of like Spirit saying, give it up. Like, this I really feel like is you're attached to your mask, and it's time to give it up. It's time to take the mask off. Really interesting. You have some major arcana here. You have some like really strong cards here. So what's the final outcome? Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles is, it's kind of coming back to your firm foundation. But the Four of Pentacles is kind of like holding on, sometimes to fears, sometimes to your money, protecting yourself. So really interesting. So we definitely have to clarify. Definitely. Okay, so let's start with this Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands. What, Spirit, do we need to know about the Nine of Wands? The Nine of Wands, please. We have the King of Swords, the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles. Wow. I think for some of you, you have the Wounded Warrior here. You've been through a lot, and I think that it may have to do, the King of Swords is someone that sees really clearly. You may have gotten some clarity about the fact, the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups. Something clear that you're, because I really think this has to do with emotions. The emotions of something that you thought was long lasting. Ten of Cups, Ten of Pentacles. You've gotten a clear understanding, perhaps, of what that means to you, and you've been wanting to protect it. Really interesting. Can we get one more, please, Spirit, for the King of Swords? King of Swords. I kind of feel like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So I think for a lot of you, this could be a love relationship. With the Empress energy, it could be, because the Empress is a little bit more like mature than the King of Swords. If this was the Emperor, I'd say, this is definitely a love connection, and it still could be, but it could be like a mother and child, or parents. For some of you, I think this is more of a family situation, but it may not be. I got the same kind of vibe with Aquarius. It's definitely somebody that is, I'm drawn back. They're showing me the like a soul contract that you have with somebody else. And, it's supposed to be long term. So that's why it's kind of like a love relationship, a sibling relationship, mother and child, or some, gender doesn't really matter. It's kind of like a parent and child, I should say. some kind of relationship that was supposed to be long-term, and perhaps something's happened with this, and because you have the Nine of Wands, you've been through a lot with this situation. Let's put it that way. It's been a long road, especially you have the Ten of Pentacles, and you really, I think you've put a lot into this because you wanted it to be the long term. And Cancer, your family is like really important to you. So it's kind of like you've done a lot. You've worked really hard to try to keep all of this together. But that's what we have to look at, is I'm wondering if, you've put so much energy into keeping this together that you're just worn out. You're worn out. It's like, you're putting on a happy face at Thanksgiving dinner when you're sitting there, but you really want to tell everybody at the table, hey, I'm tired of doing all the work. Somebody here has to help me out type of situation. Like, we have a contract. We're all in this together. Let's start working together. So how about the Two of Pentacles, Five of Swords, the Wheel, and the Ace of Cups? Nice. So with the Two of Pentacles, I think you're trying to decide, what do I do? I'm juggling so much here. Once again, you may be juggling between a lot of different people or just maybe one person, but I feel like, you have some regrets, or they have some regrets about how, there's been a conflict of some sort here. Either internal. To me, the Five of Swords is always kind of like an internal, because swords is like up in your head, kind of like an internal conflict. This could be you just having internal conflict about what do I do, right? About this situation. You're ready to step into something new. You're ready to kind of like end the conflict or whatever's going on here, the hurt feelings. You're ready to end that. You're ready to step into something new. And here's the Ace of Cups. This could be either you or the other person or people offering you, or you offering them, a cup of love, saying, hey, I love, we're all in this together. We love each other. Let's work this out. So it's really nice. And if this hasn't come along yet, I think that, it will soon. And I think maybe what you're trying to figure out, is this ever going to happen? Is this situation ever going to be rectified? Now, I do think that when this all happens, this Ace of Cups, right? This is your opportunity. Either you are taking off the mask and being vulnerable with the people involved here, or the person involved, or when they offer an apology or come to you and they're vulnerable, it's time for you to also take off your mask. It's the only way that you're going to truly heal this situation and transform it, right? So let's take a look at the Death card. What can you tell us here? Ace of Swords. So we have the Ace of Swords, the Knight of Swords in reverse, and the Seven of Cups in reverse. You're not getting clarity about how to move forward. You're not sure how to move forward. You're not looking at other options. This is, in a way, somebody here is being really stubborn. And I'm going to say, because it's in your obstacle position, to look at that. Are you being a little stubborn? Is there something that you could compromise on? I'm not saying that you let other people walk all over you. I feel like you kind of feel that way already. But they just told me expectations. Like, is there some way that you could compromise your expectations of what everybody in this situation needs to do? Because when we have super high expectations about how others should act or react, that's when we are the most unhappy, right? Because we can't control the way other people act or react. So I think that this is Spirit saying that part of your soul evolution and part of your, part in this situation is transforming perhaps your viewpoint, being kind of like, thinking that the expectations of how others should act. Because the Knight of Swords is, just really unkind words, running away, not dealing with things, right? And the Seven of Cups is not trying to, compromise, work together. Because you have both of these in reverse. It's like you're kind of like running away from looking at other options. You're kind of like, or somebody is. It's still in your obstacle path. There's somebody, either you or somebody else, that's just like holding on to what they think is true. It's kind of like, this situation may have been going on for some time. There could be some people that have changed, transformed. And this could be you or this could be other people in the situation. But maybe the other people in the situation don't recognize this transformation. They're like, no, we know the way you are, right? We know what you are. And they're not giving somebody in this situation a new lease on life. That's the word I got. A new, like recognizing that they've transformed. We have the Devil card here. It's kind of like, I don't know if this pertains, but like if somebody had, say, a drinking issue, and then, they got sober and they've been sober for a while, but nobody wants to recognize that. They keep thinking, oh no, they still have a drinking issue. Well, it's like something like that somebody's transformation is not being recognized by the other members of the soul tribe. And it's kind of like time to take off the mask. And I'm wondering if this isn't you. Like you actually have transformed, but your obstacle is that nobody sees your transformation. And it's time to take off your mask and tell people just how painful that is. Like I've done all of this work on myself, and not only are you not recognizing that I've done it, but you also are treating me exactly the way that I used to be, right? It's kind of like you've matured, right? Even if it's not like an addiction, perhaps you've matured in some way. And you're kind of like, hey, I've done all this work, but nobody's recognizing my transformation. Really interesting. Okay, so let's get, the Lover's in reverse. So can we get some clarity about, okay, now the cards are like really, oh, I see. Oh my, okay, I had the wrong deck. Okay, I'm going to leave that. That's interesting. Okay, that's the way they must have wanted it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. All right. I'm going to, wow. Okay. Really interesting. The way this is going. You're addicted to some situation, right? Like, here's the attachment to something, but see how it's no longer there, right? Because the Lovers is in reverse. So it's like you're attached to something that's no longer there. So attached to a broken love relationship, attached to a broken love relationship, attached to something that didn't work out, or attached to a choice that was made, but that here's Spirit saying it's time to move on. Wheel of Fortune, you have the strength to do that, to turn it. And Page of Swords, this is some type of information that you're going to get. I have a feeling that there's a lot of confusion here, and different people are seeing this situation in different ways, and it's like you have to have a conversation. Like everybody is reacting or acting the way that they are because they don't have the perception of everybody else. Everybody in this situation is wearing a mask. It's not just you. I think you are dealing with all of this in, you're wearing a mask perhaps, but so is everybody else. Like everybody's hiding their pain from each other. Like you're in the soul tribe and everybody is hiding their pain from each other. Really interesting. Okay, so let's go to the Four of Pentacles. Okay, they're asking me to clarify this Death card. Fool. Wow. Sun. Justice. Oh my goodness. All right, so this transformation, the transformation of someone in this situation, and once again, it's being attached to something, and once that is, whether it's an addiction to a substance or to TV or to work, to a belief system, whatever it is that you are attached to, or somebody in the situation is attached to, what they're trying to do is transform it. They're trying to step into, step off the cliff, the proverbial cliff, not a real cliff, but they're trying to jump into a new life that brings them abundance and balance. And I think that this situation, something has to happen in this situation so that you can get this. This is what you want. You want this, but you can't get that until you take off the mask and you have this sit down, this conversation with the people in this situation. Wow. Okay, so the Four of Pentacles, you have the Chariot. Interesting. Chariot, Nine of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles, Knight of Cups. What do you have on the bottom? Oh my goodness. Transformation. Six of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, the Star, Queen of Wands. Yeah, I think it's interesting that, like, I don't normally read these cards this way, but here is, okay, so this person, the Four of Pentacles, is looking towards the future in the reading. Okay, so she's looking towards the future. Gender doesn't matter. But she's kind of holding onto her pentacles. A little bit of a fearful energy. Like, I don't want to give up anything that I already have. And you also, the clarifiers is, what we call the single lady card. Gender doesn't matter, but just kind of like being... Sorry, my dog was barking. Being independent. Like, I'm going to hold on to what I have, and I'm just working on me. Forget everybody else in the tribe, right? But all of these characters, okay, are looking in the past. See how she's looking in the future. I'm just going to move forward. I'm going to take my marbles and go forward. But you also have all these clarifiers that are looking in the past. Like, you want a part of the past. And look at this. You have the Four of Pentacles holding on to the past. You have Knight of Cups. You love what is in the past. You want it back. And here's the Chariot rushing back to the past. get some advice. Just like three, I think that what has to happen, because there's not a true ending outcome here, right? It's like you have to take off the mask, or else you're going to move forward. It doesn't mean that you can't move forward, but you're going to move forward, but constantly be looking at the past. Like, you have to resolve this issue in order to be able to truly step into the past. And I'm getting a clear indication that the other people in this situation, I think you're all getting kind of like the same messages, that you're part of a soul tribe, and you're all getting the same messages. It's time to heal this. It's time to heal it. It's time to transform it. And for some of you, it could mean that you have to say goodbye to all of these people and move on. But you can't just move on without dealing with it, because if you do that, then you're not really transforming it. You have so many cards showing that you need to transform this situation, right? And the only way to do that, oh my goodness, you got the Death card again. Like, it's about transforming. The Emperor. This is an energy of, this could be you kind of like standing, but it's about transforming somebody or some belief system that's really, the Emperor to me is kind of like, it's my way or the highway type of energy. It's about transforming that type of energy, compromising, looking at other options, having these discussions so that everybody can understand how everybody else feels. It's like you all had a big family feud, but nobody understands everybody else's perception. Queen of Swords. Getting clarity. Three of Cups. Nice. Celebration. And what's on the bottom? Page of Wands. Like being inspired. Four of Swords. Healing. Judgment. Look at this. Right? Six of Swords. Ace of Pentacles. Nine of Cups. The World. The message that I'm really getting here is that you can have this celebration. You can be celebrating a firm foundation, because what this situation had before wasn't really a firm foundation. It may have looked like a firm foundation, but it had a mask. It wasn't a true firm foundation. There was a loose brick. And the water came in and kind of worked around the mortar around that loose brick, and something fell down. But you can definitely bring it back. And, you do have kind of a couple here with the Emperor. Oh my goodness. You had the Empress earlier. It's like this whole situation, I think it's kind of like up to you, Cancer. You can have this conversation and deal with the feelings, like jump into the ocean of emotions, right? And deal with this with all of these people. And you may have to deal with it yourself first, and then open yourself up to the other people in this soul contract. You may have to do that. But when you really do that, you're going to celebrate this transformation. It's going to build a true firm foundation. Once you fix whatever this is, and it's not fixing, it's transforming it. Like, I really feel like this is a soul contract. Like, your souls are evolving. Everyone in this situation is going to rise to a higher level. Okay. And they just, going back to that message that I was getting earlier about some people have transformed or perhaps ascended to a higher level and others have not. Some people have changed. And it's just, and you could be that person, or somebody else in the situation has transformed, but the others don't really recognize it yet. And it's about, being vulnerable and expressing just how painful that is. I don't think it's like last week, it's kind of like, you know, have you ever gotten a new haircut or colored your hair or something like that? And then you go to work or you go to lunch with friends or whatever, right? You go to a party and nobody recognizes your new haircut. Okay, now that is like low on the totem pole of things, because I think this is much bigger. But it's kind of like nobody noticed how much I've changed. Like you know, because the Lover's card is about choice. It's also about loving yourself. And I feel like you or somebody that you're dealing with really feels like I have done a lot of growing, soul growth, soul evolution. And nobody's recognizing it. Like, I've made a big change in my life. And you still want to be a part of this group. It's not like you want to leave them, but you're kind of thinking, I guess I just have to go because they're not seeing me for who I am. And your job in all of this is expressing just how painful that is. Really deep reading. Yeah, if you are dealing with an Aquarius or you have Aquarius, you know, in your chart somewhere, you may want to go look at that. This reading is different than that one, but it still has a very similar vibe to it. Okay, I am going to pull a Love Oracle card, and then we'll pull an angel message. And Cancer, if you've enjoyed this reading, I would really appreciate it if you would like, share, or subscribe. It really does help to build my channel and get my message of light and love out there. Okay, these two dropped out, and I'm just like, thank you, Spirit. I really feel like this is a message, maybe not for everybody, but for some specific person or people. It's really about, look at this. Here's your first one. Transformation. Your relationship with one another is about to deepen. Love conquers and transforms all things. I have like goosebumps because this is Spirit telling you not to lose hope. Just to love the situation, to love yourself, and to love the other people that are involved in this. They also just told me unconditional love. Like, maybe one of the lessons that needs to be learned with your soul tribe is to unconditionally love each other. You know, we had the judgment card in the underneath at some point. You know, there could be, you know, some judgmental issues, you know, like, yes. Okay, so for some of you, they, you know, like the contract is kind of like finding justice, judging, you know, like there could be like especially if this is a family situation or a work situation where there's a group of people that you're dealing with, like, are you all judging each other, trying to find your own justice? Who did what in this situation? I think this was a painful situation that went down, and it's kind of like, you know, each one of you are trying to get your own justice, but it's time to step up and to find justice for the group. And the only way that you can do that is to have all the masks have to come off. You have to get real with each other. How painful this situation was. I have a sense, you know, we don't have a lot of swords here. I have a sense that that's part of the issue, is that, you know, the swords indicate communication. Like, it is kind of interesting. We don't have a lot of swords here. We have lots of wands. We have pentacles. We have some cups. We have a couple of swords, but they're like the Queen of Swords, you know, finding the truth, right? The truth seeker type of that. And then here's your other card that popped out. Freedom is nothing. Freedom. There is nothing stopping you. The path is clear. If you want it to be. Oh, thank you, Spirit. That is perfect, because I was feeling like I wasn't giving you a clear cut answer, oh my goodness, and they pointed out this to me. Remember, you had the Two of Pentacles, like you're trying to juggle, you're trying to figure out things, right? And then we have like the two scales, like trying to find balance and justice in this whole situation. Like, I think you were hurt, but I think there were other people hurt too. It's just that I think everybody in the situation thinks their hurt is more than everybody else's hurt, if that makes sense. But everybody was hurt. There's nobody happy in this situation. Everybody is in pain. And that's why the Lover's card was in reverse. There could be somebody in the situation, and I'm not saying it's you, but recognizing that there's somebody in the situation that likes that the family, this group, this soul tribe is not together. Wow. There's somebody that's happy about that. And, you know, it is kind of like a real negative energy. There's somebody that wants to keep certain people away. You know, that's a toxic, narcissistic type of energy. Somebody that's not happy, that doesn't want anybody to be happy. Oh, Cancer, I'm so sorry. That message really came out clear for me. And once again, it may not resonate with everybody. But here's why you got the Freedom card, right? There's nothing stopping you. The path is clear if you want it to be. So it's up to you. Do you want to reconcile with this person or these people, with your soul tribe? If you do, you can. You can transform it. All you have to do is love it. Just give it as much love as you possibly can, right? And you'll transform this negative energy, something that's addicted to people not loving people. I just, once again, I think I already said that, something about unconditional love. It's about unconditional love. That's, they just keep saying it again. So I'm just going to say it again. Unconditional love. Love this situation. Love it. Don't be afraid of loving it, because by loving the situation, you're going to transform the situation. And it may not happen overnight. And it doesn't mean that you can't go on living your life. But until this situation is transformed, you're always going to be looking back at it. So it's just time. It's time to, you know, it's time to jump out of the boat and into the ocean of emotions. Wow, Cancer. A really deep reading. Okay, so let's get an angel message to finish this off. I'll read it to you. I love the title, Blessings. Love, light, blessings. Through this card, you are being showered with angelic light. Accept the blessings about to come your way and know that you deserve to be and have all your heart desires. You are being lovingly guided along a golden path, a magical journey through which you shall discover your true essence, the infinite and eternal you. Congratulations. And you know, that goes with this raccoon. By taking off your mask and being vulnerable with the other people that are involved in this situation, what happens is, you are guided along a golden and magical journey through which you shall discover your true essence. It's kind of like that you're using a mask to hide your true feelings about this situation. But the truth of the matter is that when you take off the mask and you're vulnerable and you put it out there, you're also going to see your true essence. It's like you're almost hiding yourself from yourself. Oh my gosh, that's just beautiful, Cancer. What a gorgeous reading. What a gorgeous reading. Well, I do hope that you enjoyed it. I wish you lots of love and light in this situation and all your situations. Bye for now, Cancer.